Yes, people, and welcome back to Punches and Pundits. Now, before we start, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this video on YouTube. And if you are listening on any sort of audio platform, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure to download the episode so that you're notified. And on social media, make sure to follow us, Instagram and TikTok. We post all the clips from this episode. Now, on my way here, the big topic, right? Before we preview UFC 314 that's happening in Miami at the next week, is the state of the 170-pound division, and that arguably is the most interesting division in the UFC right now. We can both agree that Bilal doesn't get a lot of love at all, and he's the champion. But anything around that, you got Shafkat, you got Usman, you got Ian Gary, you got Prates, who are going to fight each other. You got Sean Brady, who put an absolute masterclass in enemy territory on short notice. Yeah, that division is bubbling up to being very, very serious. And 2025 into 2026, it's looking crazy for the 170-pound division.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I keep saying this. The welterweight division is one of the best divisions in the UFC. It's overtaken the lightweight division, in my opinion. For so many years, everyone was talking about the lightweight division. But for me, the lightweight division is just the same faces again and again. Welterweight, you just mentioned a few of the names. You've got some unbelievable fighters. Now, the champion Bilal is fighting Madalena. We respect Madalena, a top fighter, you know, an excellent striker. But I just think Bilal has too much for him. And come fighting that, I think he'll handle him 5 rounds. I just think Bilal will just manhandle him, hold him down, and cruise his way to a decision. But then, if Bilal wins, as we expect, who does he fight next? Because Shafkat is injured with a serious knee injury. You've got Ian Gary fighting Prates. That could be a potential #1 contender fight. You've got Sean Brady, who just absolutely destroyed Leon Edwards. The first man to finish Leon Edwards. No one had finished Leon Edwards before that.
You know, it's crazy.
With a one-arm guillotine in London on enemy territory.
Short notice.
Mate, that was a very, very impressive performance. And, you know, who can say Sean Brady doesn't deserve a title shot? He absolutely deserves it.
Finished the former champion like that.
Exactly, and he put in a much better performance against Leon than Bilal, if you think about it. Bilal did very well, but he didn't finish Leon Edwards. So, I mean, it's a very interesting division. Your boy Prates against Ian Gary. How does that go? You know, Prates was scheduled to fight Jeff Neal. Unfortunately, Jeff Neal got injured. But now we've got an even better fight. Big up Ian Gary once again, taking the tough fights. He fought Shafkat when nobody wanted to fight Shafkat.
Short
He's
notice.
now fighting Prates
twice in a row.
Who's a very risky fight for him. It's you know, Ian Gary possibly is maybe 1 win or 2 wins off a title shot. Fighting Prates, losing to Prates, he's cooked. So it's a fight where he's got a lot more to lose than Prates. If Prates beats Ian Gary,
he's in title contention.
He is 100% in title contention.
Especially with the motion that he's got. But a name we just forgot as well is Buckley. Buckley's hungry. Do you see the video where he was talking about, you lots underestimate Bilal? I'm not underestimating Bilal. I'm hungry. And trust me, I think he's probably up there. Like, I don't know who he's going to fight next. Because, to be honest, right? Okay, we got the dilemma with Shafkat. Shafkat is Shafkat, right? He's got that aura. Even though his last couple fights, he's lost that a little bit, right? Especially with the Ian Gary one. But
he's still
there's exactly, and there's arguments about he fights injured every single time, but he's injured currently. So if he can't fight for a while and Bilal blitzes through JDM, which we both expect, right?
Unless Bilal is injured post-fight, you've got to give Sean Brady the shot. Or give Sean Brady another fight, maybe
I think
Buckley or the winner of Ian Gary and Prates as an
Usman v
whilst Bilal
Usman v Buckley. Usman v Buckley.
Yeah, but he's called him out many times. I don't think Usman's interested. Usman, I don't know who he wants to fight, to be honest. I mean,
well, he needs to.
Can he even make 170? He hasn't fought at 170 for how long? His last fight was 185, and it's been a few years since then. It was against Chimaev, who's then since gone up. So I don't even know where Usman's head
Chimaev was
yeah, but Chimaev was at
185. Yeah,
that was his last fight. So yeah, to be honest, you're right. It was at 185. But the thing is, Usman, no one knows where he's at, what he's up to. He's not.
He's active. A name though. And he's a scalp.
I know he's a scalp, but if anything, will that win do much for Buckley? If you think about it, in terms of title picture, he'd rather fight the winner of Ian Gary Prates.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he'd rather. They're more active at the moment. They're in contention.
Well, he'd rather fight Sean Brady. If Sean Brady's not getting the title fight, then
I think Sean's got his eyes on the title shot. Especially if Bilal wins, because he wants that rematch. He said
That wins aged like wine for
Yeah.
Bilal though.
Hey,
Like he TKO'd him.
Bilal's the most disrespected fighter on the roster. Completely disrespected.
Do you know? Well, we both think that Madalena will lose, but I tell you who would be waiting in the wings, and apparently there's reports that he is waiting until UFC 315 to make a decision on his next fight, and that's Islam Makhachev. Now, if out of the blue, JDM has just spawned unbelievable takedown defense and catches Bilal, right? Then, I mean, Islam. Oh my gosh, Islam v JDM would be the. I mean, it would be.
That wouldn't be pretty.
It would be a massacre.
Yeah,
Like it would be
pretty.
murder.
I
we've seen.
I even think Makhachev beats Bilal, but they're just friends. They're friends. They're boys. They've trained together. They're close. They're not comfortable fighting each other. But I've said if Islam goes up to 170, he handles all of them. Maybe Shavkat is.
But we've seen crazier things.
Yeah.
You don't know. Bilal could either injure himself or get caught with something.
But even if Bilal loses, does he not deserve a rematch?
No.
Possibly.
No. What would you? But
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. If it's a close fight, where it's been back and forth.
Nah, man.
It's a split decision. You could possibly give him the rematch, but
no. Look at. Yeah, and we're in the 170-pound division. You know what I'm saying? Bilal ain't got pulled like that. The last time, even what Strickland Duplessis. Do you remember Strickland had to take a fight and then he got the rematch? Yeah. Bilal would have to fight again. There's no way. He's not a name like that. But yeah, Islam Makhachev would. I mean, he would like a JDM win. Whether he would want to admit it or not, that's what he would want. But
then I just want him to stay at 155. I want that Topuria fight. I just get that Topuria fight out of the way and then go up.
But did you see? Apparently, they on the broadcast yesterday, they leaked that it might be Topuria v Charles.
Yeah, but to be honest, that would be a good fight as well.
Bro, that's an unbelievable.
Fight. But then
they miss an opportunity.
I just think Ilya deserves the straight title shot.
Yeah.
You've seen guys move weight. How many times they get the title shot straight away? Ilya's probably one of the most exciting.
And I don't know.
He is the most exciting.
I'll be honest. A lot of people campaigning for Gaethje to get a title shot. Like, let's be honest. Islam kills Gaethje. It's murder. Live on pay-per-view. Live on pay-per-view. Out of the
top 10, Gaethje's probably got one of the worst jiu-jitsu. You look at his jiu-jitsu again. Come on, Khabib got him in a triangle. Khabib doesn't usually throw triangles, bro. Gaethje's jiu-jitsu is a bit suspect, and Ilya's jiu-jitsu. I mean,
I think he would be so worried about
Charles. What's his name? Makhachev's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
I won't stop the takedown.
But I think Gaethje would be so worried about Islam's taking him down, and Islam's got hands.
Islam's a better striker as well. He's got slicker hands.
How do you quickly? How do you feel about Prates and Gary?
I think it's a very good fight. I think Ian Gary is one of the most underrated fighters on the roster. A very trains
with Oliveira.
Exactly, he's a technician. He trains in Brazil as well. He knows the Brazilian scene very well. Prates is a bit of an enigma. He's got that special factor. He's got that knockout power. He's a front forward fighter. He's also got technique. The question mark for me is it's a 5-round fight. We know Prates, even though he's amazing in the cage, he doesn't live the life. He smokes heavy. He drinks. He's a bit of a party lad. And listen, he can do whatever he wants. Yeah. But at the highest level,
he's got that old school Brazilian, even like old school Brazilian ballers like Ronaldinho.
I know, but talent will only take you so far. You've got to add that discipline.
That's
true.
We know
Ian Gary's disciplined.
I think
in a 5-round fight, does he have the conditioning to last those 5 rounds?
I think
Ian Gary is very durable as well.
And also, one thing with Ian Gary, he does game plan well for fights. We saw against MVP, and MVP, in terms of pure power, can't chat to Prates. So the risk factor is even higher against Prates. I got to be honest. Obviously, we know MVP's stance, the karate stance, in and out, blitzing and whatnot. But he ain't got the one punch dead, right, that we saw against Magny, where he grazed his head and Magny he was out, bro.
When is the fight? It's the end of the month, isn't it?
It's at the end of the month. That's what I'm saying.
Has Ian Gary been in camp? Or is this a short notice
fight?
I
think he trains all the time though.
He's been waiting. Fight, technically for Ian Gary.
Yeah.
And Prates has been training. So you could possibly
but then again
Prates
he was probably like and this can happen sometimes, is that he was training for a certain date, and even though it's 2-3 weeks later, he has to adapt his training, right? Because you want to peak on fight week into fight night. And then obviously it's only like 2 weeks later, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Ian Gary's been in there with the tougher competition. Ian Gary's last fight was a very, very good competitive fight against Shavkat, who's one of the best fighters on the roster, one of the best fighters at welterweight, the uncrowned king that many say, and he looked like he belonged in there, and he won rounds.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Prates
has not been in the cage with anybody.
No, 100% he hasn't.
So, Ian Gary's got that experience.
And I gotta be honest, like, as much as I've called Prates' name for months now, you know what I'm saying? I was like, no, watch out for this guy, what he done to Lee, and stuff like that. But I would have liked to see him against Jeff Neal, simply for the fact that Jeff.
Do you think this is a bit of a?
It is. It's a step. It is skipping a step.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you sink or swim,
Exactly.
right? You're a fighter. He's ranked 13 in the world. Ian Gary's ranked 7. Neal was ranked 10, right? You get a win over Ian Gary in a main event. You know, now we're starting to talk like there's a lot to gain for Prates. And Prates is a gamer as well. He was game planning for Neal. They give him Ian Gary. Yes, there's upside for him, but you just know Ian Gary's gonna turn into like shooter box, bro. Jiu-jitsu. It's gonna be jiu-jitsu time. It's gonna be takedown time. You know.
He did against MVP. You're right. He game plans very well, and he suits his style to the opponent.
Yeah.
He just wants to win the fight. He doesn't care what the crowd think, and that is the way to go about it. Especially if you're 1 or 2 fights from a title shot. He knows Prates is a dangerous striker. He knows Prates.
And Prates has got
Prates
clout.
has knockout power. He's gonna turn into a wrestler.
Prates has got clout. So you're saying
Prates needs to right now work on his takedown defense, because them takedowns are coming from the first minute.
But that's what I'm saying. If he gets, that was a bad look for MVP when Ian Gary controlled him for 15 minutes.
Yeah, it just showed his whole.
Because then let's say Ian Gary controls him on the ground, yeah. Then you're wondering, well, if Prates came up against a Bilal or a Shafkat,
Exactly.
then it's even. But then Ian Gary was hanging with Shafkat on the ground, nearly choked him.
Yeah.
So Ian Gary might be one of the best grapplers at 170.
Exactly. Yeah, people don't sleep on his grappling. So. No,
I don't know. Arguably, if we're doing percentages right now, right, it's one of them ones where, as much as I like Prates, if I'm putting my actual MMA hat on and thinking logically, I probably do favor Gary a little bit.
Yeah.
Not.
The smart prediction is Ian Gary. Ian Gary will be the favorite.
You think so?
But I think he will be the favorite. He has to be the favorite. I know Prates.
I need to check that.
No, he has to be the favorite. He has to be the favorite.
You
if
think
he's
so?
not the favorite, that's mental. Ian
Gary's.
He's been around a lot longer. He's fought a tougher competition.
Yeah, and Prates has knocked out every person he's been in there with.
But the level of competition is different, though. Prates is we know Prates is elite, but it's that level of competition. But
How many fights do you think Prates is away if he beats Ian Gary convincingly? One,
or he might even get the title shot. We've seen it before.
Yeah, I mean
We've seen
Dana
it
loves
before.
him.
We've seen it before.
Dana loves him.
We've seen it before. So yeah, I mean, you've got to give Ian Gary the edge in terms of your standard prediction, but don't count out Prates. And I won't be surprised if Prates adds Ian Gary to his highlight reel. That's how we know how good he is, isn't it? So yeah,
That would be crazy though.
and you know what? If he does finish Ian Gary in magnificent fashion, he has to get a title shot. If he
Skip
does,
the line.
No, but if he does though, it has to, it's about your performance as well.
Yeah, but
That's
Sean
that's why
Brady
deserves the
Sean
shot
Brady
as well.
went to the O2 and
Sean deserves
murdered Leon
Sean
Edwards.
deserves
Bro.
it, but you never know. Sean could catch an injury. You never know how how
Yeah.
it works. The sport is it's a
But they
weird
wanted to
sport.
feed Prates against Shafkat when Bilal was injured. Like it was a whole madness. But yeah, man, the 170.
Where does Jeff Neal go? He's in a bit of a weird position.
Yeah, he's number 10. He's gonna have to fight whoever, innit?
Yeah.
Like
Gunnar Nelson. Let's talk about Gunnar Nelson, man.
you got that, bro.
Man.
Kevin Holland killed him, man.
Oh man. But that's what
You're
happens
pissed.
though. Yeah, but listen, look,
Inactivity.
Gunner's my guy, but even now, I don't know when he's gonna fight again. He could go missing for another 2 years.
That O2 card was stinky.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was honking. Even the Oldberg Blachowicz fight, people were calling robbery. I mean, it was. It
Goldberg
just,
should get a shot, That light heavyweight division, there's not many guys.
what do you mean Pereira's getting the rematch?
No, but there's not. No, I'm saying though, after the Pereira and Kalayev, who else is there to fight?
Yeah, but
Do you know
when could that fight be? You know what I'm saying they're talking about August
If I
rematch.
was Oldberg, I'd look at the winner of that, hold out, and fight the winner of the rematch.
Right.
There's no other options for me.
But yeah, like I said, if I'm Hunter, Campbell, and Dana White on matchmaking on Tuesdays, that 170-pound division, I'm making crazy matchups. That's just juicy from the get-go. But we need to dive into UFC 314 now. Unfortunately, like I said, Prates and Neal was taken off the main card. even though they're gonna headline. Well, Jamal Hill and Khalil was meant to headline Kansas City, so that's another light heavyweight fight that would have been interesting. But anyways, let's dive into 314, and you know what? I've sat on it, I've thought, and unfortunately, I'm here to tell everyone that Volkanovski is gonna get knocked out. He's it's just, I was watching the countdown yesterday, and they do a magnificent job.
Yeah, no, I like
They really do a magnificent job of like hyping and like, you know, Volk was talking about his come up, obviously the fights against Holloway, and then how dominant he was, and then he spoke about the Ilia Topuria fight and how, you know, he was kind of like tentative. And I gotta be honest, age is not on his side, and it's just like Lopez is just he's a bazooka. You know, he's just gonna come out there and he's just gonna try land absolute smacks on Volk's chin. And I just have a sneaky feeling that one of them's gonna land, man. One of them's gonna land on his chin.
You know what? When you asked me this a few weeks ago, I said that it all depends on Volk. Is his chin the same? But technically, if we look technically on the feet in terms of striking, jab, shot selection, kicks, you've got to say Volk's the better striker. Technically, Lopez he kind of wings his shots a bit. So it's a thing where if Lopez lands on Volk and Volk reacts well and he doesn't get rocked and he shows a good chin, I think Lopez is in trouble. Because the longer the fight goes, especially if Volk doesn't respect Lopez's power, especially if Volk believes that Lopez can't knock him out, technically, Volk is gonna nick rounds. He's a lot better than him on the feet.
A lot.
Lopez for me is just a bit. He's not as technical as Volk, and Lopez is not bad, but it's just Volk's on another level. And Volk even mentioned, like, he said he's better than all of these guys. Volk believes the only the way he loses a fight, other than that Makachev fight, is if these guys knock him out.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying.
But
other than
his chin may not be the same.
Yeah, and also other than Topuria, right? Who would you say is that one guy where, like, I'm not trying to be funny, if he connects on your chin, it's long day. We had Josh Emmett last night.
Josh Emmett, yeah, but
I'm saying Lopez.
Technically, he's not good though, but he's just got a vicious overhand right. But we've seen guys beat Josh Emmett.
But that's what I'm saying. But Lopez, right? And I think you're underrated in striking a little bit. Like, I'm not trying to be funny.
No, he is a good striker, but I think Volk's just on another level, technically.
But when you close your eyes, wait, hold on. When you close your eyes and you're thinking Volk's an elite striker, you're thinking pre-Topuria, obviously. But that's what I'm saying. Those are he got head kick.
You're right. His chin may not be the same, so.
But it's not about. It's not.
But
here
he's
what.
Is that a year out?
I know, but it's not just the chin. It's where he was to take the punch.
Yeah.
He was against the cage.
No, but that's Topuria's footwork. Topuria's a footwork to back him up and kind of lock him, push him to the fence. That's Topuria.
I know, but they're basically the same.
No, but Lopez doesn't have that kind of footwork. And Topuria was switching stances. Topuria's
okay. I hear what you're saying, but Topuria's 5'7", Volk's 5'6".
Yeah.
Much smaller surface area. Yeah. Bro, Lopez is huge for 145. He's at 5'11", nearly 6 foot.
No, Lopez is quite class here. He's class. But I just been watching some of his fights, his highlights. He can get into a bit of a slugfest that way. He just wings his punches. I don't think that's smart against
who? What fight are you thinking?
I was watching the Ortega fight, and I know he handled him, but he was going crazy a bit. I'm like, you can't really fight that against Volk. But then again, Volk's chin might be gone. But then I was thinking,
if he lands,
if Volk's been out for a whole year, I think he's done that on purpose.
Of course, he's done that on purpose.
He's recovered. He may come back, and he might be the old Volk. He sounds confident. He sounds like it's the old Volk. But we can only see on fight night. For me, this is a very difficult fight to predict. For me,
bro,
it's tough.
Mo, when does that happen? When does that happen? That where a former champ goes away for a year, right, and puts on a vintage performance against an absolute battering ram, who not only we're just talking about the striking, but I'm saying he could buzz Volk a little bit, and then. I'm not trying to be funny. Volk could get caught in a submission. I'm deadly serious. I'm not saying
100%.
I'm not saying that prime Volk against Lopez now. I would think 35 or 36.
And Lopez
31, 32. But Lopez he's here. He's landed. He's right here.
Moment, yeah. And Lopez has got a chin. So even if Volk puts on a clinic, He's not knocking out Lopez.
He's not knocking out.
Lopez is a mad chin.
He's not knocking out Lopez, no. And he's not submitting Lopez.
No.
So this is what I'm saying. Volk, to win, would have to put a clinic for 25
He
minutes.
has to do what he did against Max. Fight behind the jab, keep it moving. Put
Yeah.
on a masterclass, because in a war, a slugfest, he's not gonna.
Oh, if they go punch for punch, Volk's getting flattened. But I don't think.
So you're going Lopez as your prediction.
I just.
I'm gonna I don't know. I'm gonna just give Volk the edge. I'm gonna
Serious?
disagree, yeah. Volk the edge, because I just think Volk.
But then
is
people.
And Volk has been there, experience.
Yeah, I was just about to say
Volk
you
has
could
been
argue.
there.
You
He's
could
been in
argue
those 5-round
experience.
fights. He's been under the lights. He's fought under pressure. He's fought rematches. He's fought where Volk's that guy. You
I'll
know?
be honest,
we
though.
shouldn't forget that. We shouldn't forget that. That's what I think. That's
Volk
why I give
has been that guy.
Yeah, and he still is that guy. I mean, I know Topuria flattened him, but Topuria is a amazing fighter.
Once in a
We
generation.
haven't seen
fighter,
him.
innit?
We haven't seen anything like Topuria. Can strike, can grapple, excellent defense, power, both knockout power in both hands, jiu-jitsu, everything. He's a complete fighter.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's why we want to see the Makachev Topuria fight so badly, because Topuria's in something special, and we shouldn't take a lot away from Volk because he lost to Topuria. Topuria is just that good. Now,
And
Lopez,
Makachev is that good.
Exactly. He's only lost to the best. So,
But when
we'll
you take
see,
a
we'll
year
see.
off, he was even saying, I was questioning if I really want to do this again. Like, I don't know, man. Like, obviously, I've been high on Lopez for a while, and like, you're saying in terms of experience, obviously Volk's got the edge. But Lopez has been in some fights where like he had to fight Dan Ige on 2 hours' notice. Like things like this. Like this guy's dealt with pressure,
Yeah.
or he's dealt with like co-headlining,
Lopez definitely deserves to be where he is right now.
beating
And
Ortega
he's
at the
also
Sphere.
a special fighter. He's also a special fighter, but is Volk a bit too much? But we'll see.
I mean, if Volk, I don't know. I don't think Lopez is gonna try grapple with Volk, but if there's an opening there, or he's hurt him on the feet a little bit, and there's a little opening for a submission, watch out, honestly. But I do feel like Lopez might be a little bit too much for this version of Volk. I'm not saying prime Volk. Prime Volk against Lopez would have probably looked a lot like prime Volk against Yair or prime Volk against Ortega, But now,
Isn't Yair fighting on that card as well?
yeah, Yair's
Against
fighting
Pitbull.
Pitbull.
But Pitbull's not the same guy. People keep mentioning Pitbull like it's the same Pitbull. He's not the same guy. He's not the
Yeah.
same guy. He's way past this. For me, he's past it. But then is Yair the guy to... the
Yair's
UFC
a
always
weird
do
one.
this, they always do this. When a guy comes from Bellator, they always give him a tough fight. Just to...
Well, Chandler got Hooker when he came.
Hooker's not an easy fight, though.
No.
Chandler just handled him, but that's not
Just
an easy
knocked
fight.
him out clean.
But final predictions for Lopez Volk.
I think Lopez finishes Volk, unfortunately.
And how does he finish him? And when does he finish him?
Same as Topuria, second round knockout.
Second round knockout, yeah?
Yeah, I think it might be a carbon copy.
Okay, I'm going to go Volk decision.
Does Lopez win any rounds if it goes
yeah,
decision?
I think Lopez possibly starts off strong, but I think Volk will take over as the fight goes on.
This question,
This 2 or 4-1.
There's questions over Lopez's cardio, but when he's looked suspect cardio wise, he was fighting a 165 pounder in Ige, and he was training and he was stressed, man. There was factors around it.
No.
You know what I'm saying? He was dealing with a huge puncher on 2 hours' notice. Didn't game plan for him. He was probably trying to get him out early, and then he had to ride the wave in the third round. I never lost stock in Lopez because he had a hard fight with Dan Ige on 2 hours' notice. You know what I'm saying? And he proved against Ortega. I mean, he knocked him out and woke him back up, and he won that fight convincingly. So we'll see. 25 minutes. We haven't seen him in a 25-minute fight. And obviously, your first 25-minute fight being a title fight, so it's a big responsibility. But I'm excited. We've been here. It's like, whoa, who's next for the 145-pound division? We thought Topuria would be the one defending his belt, but we got the vacant title, Lopez v Volkanovski. You've got Volk by decision.
Yeah,
Maybe being nostalgic a little bit.
Yeah.
And
but I just think the decision isn't isn't a bad shout.
Yeah.
Finishing Volk is a bit wild, but a decision I don't think that's a bad shout.
No, it's not a bad shout. And then we jump into the co-main event, and this fight, right? I mean, it's got big implications in the UK MMA scene, and it's the first huge step up, really. It's the first huge step up for Paddy Pimblett, right? Because you spoke about experience in terms of Volk. I mean, Chandler, he hasn't won many of those fights, but he's been there with a who's who. He's game planned for everyone. He's game planned for Gaethje. He's game planned for Oliveira twice. Dustin Poirier. You know, he's been
confirmed if it's a 5-rounder.
It is a 5-rounder, yeah.
Yeah, if it's a 5-rounder, the longer the fight goes, you've got to give Chandler the edge. You know Chandler's going to be there the 5th round. But then Chandler, sometimes he loses his mind in fights and he doesn't fight smart. Now, if he wrestles, that's not smart because Paddy's
jiu-jitsu.
Off his back, he's a monster. So I don't think it's wise to take him down. Maybe take him down, but you have to be careful. Maybe stay in the half guard. Do not let Paddy get the full guard and start throwing triangles and stuff. But then again, on the feet,
Chandler's not throwing no triangles, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if Chandler gets him down, stay in the half guard. Don't let, you know what I mean, don't let
Paddy advance in
exactly,
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but then on the feet, you know, I don't think they're that different on the feet. I think on the feet they're pretty similar. Chandler's not the most technical, neither is Paddy. Power wise, maybe Chandler gets the edge.
I would say Chandler gets the edge.
But then Chandler, he does wing his punches a bit. I think it'll be the best first round of the whole card. The first round's going to be mad. Do you remember first round, Chandler versus Gaethje, how crazy that first round was? I think the first round for Paddy and Chandler will be
Oliveira against Gaethje. Do you remember that first round?
I don't think Paddy's submitting Chandler. If Oliveira couldn't submit him, then I can't let
Well, Paddy claimed in the countdown that he's got better ground game than Oliveira.
He doesn't. But I'd say he's got.
But wait, hold on.
Maybe he's top 3 jiu-jitsu in that way.
That's what I was gonna say. So
you gotta say Oliveira, even though Makhachev submitted him. You gotta say pure jiu-jitsu, Oliveira or Makhachev. But it's 1 and 2, Makhachev or Oliveira. Moicano, but I think Paddy's got better jiu-jitsu than Moicano.
Really?
I think Paddy's jiu-jitsu is very underrated.
No, it definitely is.
And you can just see how smooth he is especially
in transitions.
The way when he submitted Bobby Green, or King Green. That wasn't the first submission he went for. He went for a few.
Went for the guillotine.
And then he just
transitioned. Yeah.
He can adjust mid submission. He's very
nearly
slick.
broke Bobby's arm.
Exactly. He's very, very slick, and he had a lot of submissions going into the UFC as well. I think Paddy's very underrated. It's a 5-rounder.
And he's also big, man.
Massive for the weight class, and he's a lot bigger than Chandler as well. I'm gonna give Paddy the edge.
Yeah, I think Paddy wins.
I'm gonna give Paddy the edge. I think Paddy gets it done.
But does he finish him?
I think he finishes him. I don't see this fight going to a decision. None of them are really decision fighters.
Paddy going 25 minutes.
Yeah,
I mean, if we get a Chandler, but then again,
I think Paddy.
But then again, listen, we said Oliveira against Chandler 2. There's no way it goes 25 minutes, and it went 25 minutes.
Yeah,
and Oliveira is like even more of a finisher.
I just think there's no way this is a boring fight.
You don't think it can be a boring fight?
No way. The way they both of them fight.
Is it because of Chandler that it can't be a boring fight?
Both of them.
Nah, I mean Paddy's been, but Paddy
brings it every fight.
I know, but Paddy's turned the corner.
He's not the most technical. That's it.
Paddy's turned the corner though. Since the Ferguson fight and obviously the Bobby Green fight, you can see he's made leaps.
But then I said Paddy would finish Chandler, but he couldn't even finish Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, but he's better since then.
I know.
And he nearly did in the first round.
I mean, listen. If it goes to a decision, I say Chandler. I think if anyone's getting a finish, it's
5-round experiences. That's what Chandler said. He's like, I've had more training camps for 5-rounders than he's had MMA fights.
Yeah, he's a lot more experienced.
So,
but then again, how old is Chandler now? 36, 37. You see Chandler, what he said as well. If I win, I'm gonna call out McGregor. He needs to let go.
Oh my gosh, Connor's.
McGregor's officially retired now.
Yeah, I know.
They've taken him out of the
testing pool.
Yeah, testing pool. He's off the website. He even came out and said he's running for president now. Yeah, so he said, I'm not really interested in fighting. So
I can't lie. I was actually genuinely thinking. I was like, they're probably gonna make a movie about him soon, like with actual actors, because his life, like, He was just talking about the best comeback of all time, and it's just like he got booked against Chandler. We were
think
there.
I think he has CTE.
He might have CTE,
I think he has CTE.
but he never took damage in those fights.
Yeah, no, I just
He must have it in like,
yeah, even in, like sparring maybe in the gym.
or
the
he
Mayweather
just
fight, he got hit bare. The DS.
nah. But
fight, but in training, he trains hard.
yeah.
So yeah, I think.
But not even just that. It's drug use as well, man.
Yeah, but that's CTE though, because you've lost your mind. Yeah, you just.
Nah, CTE is from punches.
Yeah,
and
no,
that.
but then you become someone else, somebody else. So you resort to things that you would never do. You think remember McGregor in his prime when he used to talk about how partying was weakness for the soul, all of that. Do you know what I mean? So.
But now he's like owner BKFC, like that's
bro,
what he does. Like,
yeah, bro, even when he talks, he doesn't sound
coherent.
Bro.
Yeah.
Even when he was doing the movie and he was with
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, he was just bugging out.
Bro, there was one where he was twitching and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I wasn't even funny. Like I was thinking there's something up with this guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's
Yeah, he's not fine.
He's
Yeah,
done, man.
I don't know where Chandler
Outside
goes.
the cage as well, he has his stuff, which is mad. But in the cage, he was a good fighter. But
Nah, he was more than good.
no, he was. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of
Wait,
Famer.
he was a transcendent fighter, bro. Obviously, he came up against Khabib, who like.
Yeah, but Khabib does that to everyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, going back to prediction.
I'd say look, final prediction for me.
Paddy, if Paddy finishes Chandler, considering his star
Give him
name,
Gaethje. You can't get a title shot after beating Chandler. You need one more win.
no, I know. I'm not saying he's gonna get a title shot,
Yeah.
but why would Gaethje take that fight?
I mean, what other fight can Gaethje take? He's not getting
Islam.
a title shot. I don't think Islam's fighting him. I don't think he did.
Islam wants to fight,
He's just.
but I don't give no credit on that.
To sort of irritate Topuria. That's it.
And Charles.
Yeah, that's it. Because Gaethje does not deserve a title shot ahead of Charles Oliveira, ahead of Arman Sarukian, and even for me Topuria when he comes up. Even though Topuria hasn't done anything at lightweight, I think all those three guys.
I would love
it more than Gaethje.
I would love a Gaethje Sarukian fight.
Yeah,
that would be.
Should call out Sarukian
or Charles again,
or fight the winner of Paddy and
or fight Charles
Chandler.
if Topuria is getting the
exactly. If Charles wants to fight him, because Charles already handled him.
He killed him for a title fight, UFC 274.
But then that's the thing with the lightweight division. Other than that, like, what else is there in the lightweight division?
Dustin Poirier's last fight.
Yeah.
Max Holloway, mate. Huh?
It's not been announced, but you're saying it will probably be Max for the.
It might be Max. What else?
When the BMF retire.
Dan Hooker. What's Dan Hooker gonna do when he comes back from surgery?
Yeah.
Moicano.
You know, if Paddy beats Chandler, that Moicano fight, there's no point really making it.
No. What?
Do you know what I mean? I don't think
Bro,
there's any point.
Chandler's ranked 7.
Yes.
Paddy would be ranked 7. He's got a top 5 opponent straight away.
So.
You know, like, but I'm saying in terms of his name, he might skip. He might just have a number 1 contender fight straight away, or be on standby if there's injuries for a title fight. Who knows? But then again, he's not really the type like to go on short notice. He's even said, "I'll never take a short notice fight." So even him being a backup for a title fight, it doesn't make sense. But I don't know. Maybe you do him v Hooker when he comes back. You know, because Paddy doesn't fight too regularly. He fights twice a year, really. So he's got a fight in April, probably back end of the year. He said he wants to fight in Abu Dhabi. So who could he fight in Abu Dhabi? You know. But that I mean, it would be huge. It would be huge. Even, you know, the reaction to his win against Bobby Green at Manchester. I mean, if he finishes Michael Chandler, it will be, you know, it's not. It won't. It'll make moves in the MMA world. Like it'll 100% make.
See what
moves.
the UFC recently did.
What?
I forgot the guy's name, but it was a light heavyweight that fought in the contender series.
Right.
And because they offered him garbage money, he's like, "Forget this. I'm gonna go back to kickboxing."
Yeah.
And I was fighting for the belt.
Yeah.
What is it with the UFC? Even though they're getting guys from these big companies, like big organizations, kickboxing organizations, offering them garbage.
Like Cedric Doumbé.
Yeah, Cedric Doumbé. Cedric Doumbé, I think, was offered a 20 and 20, which is
The
disgraceful.
PFL are probably like giving him
these
7
are-
figures easy.
Imagine we had Cedric Doumbé in the UFC right now.
It'd be
Even though
fun.
he didn't have to work on his grappling, on the feet.
Or we would have got Pitbull earlier.
And we would have got. I should know the guy's name, but we would have got the Pereira fight.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. But he fought on a contender series. Is it him?
No,
I forgot his name, but I can picture him.
it's a Brazilian guy as well, I think.
But yeah, rest of the cards. Oh, rest of the card. Now, this is one that we argued last time when we spoke about it briefly when it got announced. And you think Bryce Mitchell's got something on Gene Silver, and I said UFC 314 live on pay-per-view. We might see a murder. John Silva is gonna do. He's
Yeah.
going to do Bryce Mitchell similar to how Josh Emmett done Bryce Mitchell.
You know, with Bryce Mitchell, of course, he's probably the most hated fighter on the roster right
But
now.
I'm not coming from a
But
place
it's
of
not
hate.
like- I know. But John Silver, listen, should win. He's probably the favorite. But all I'm saying is, Bryce can grapple.
Gene Silva can grapple.
Yeah, but I just think Bryce is a better grappler. And is it a 5-rounder? I think it's a 3-rounder.
No, it's 3 round.
3 rounds. Bryce could just nick rounds with his wrestling, and we've seen it before.
No,
We've seen it before. People can just nick rounds.
I know,
It could
but
be a stalemate, and Bryce just gets the takedown,
is it?
and then he nicks the round. So yeah, I mean,
It's not gonna be a stalemate. Before it's a stalemate,
Yeah.
Bryce Mitchell will be unconscious. Bro, it's Gara.
So what's your like final prediction for that fight?
It's first round knockout.
First round knockout.
First round
Like,
knockout.
I'm gonna throw this out there. It might not age well. I'm going Bryce decision.
What do you lot
decision
think?
win.
Hey, what do you lot think? You think Bryce Mitchell is gonna handle Gene Silva?
I think
Where
Bryce
he's out
Mitchell-
here, where
I just think
before the
Bryce
fight,
Mitchell- I just
before the
think
fight,
Bryce
he's just gonna
Mitchell-
bark. He's just gonna
Yeah,
bark
I
in
know
his
Bryce
face.
Mitchell, he's a bit unhinged. I know flat earth, all of that stuff.
Yeah, but Gene Silva's
But
unhinged
but
as well.
Grappler, wrestler, Gene doesn't have the best takedown defense.
Why? Because Charles Jourdain took him down. He didn't take Charles Jourdain serious.
I know, but I know he has to take Bryce serious. But I'm just saying, don't be surprised if Bryce gets that decision win. Wrestling.
I'm just
the
checking. I'm just checking some of the odds. Right, Volkanovski is the favorite against Lopez. Paddy's the favorite, and talking about Gene Silva, overwhelming favorite against Bryce Mitchell.
No, that's expected. That's expected. He's on a bit of a run right now.
Mm.
He's on fire. You know, he called him out. This is a good fight, but I think Bryce Mitchell could get it done. But Gene is a favorite. If Gene knocks him out, I won't be surprised.
Yeah, but yeah, he
won't be
come in on
surprised,
an
but-
angle. Yeah, Bryce Mitchell's gonna no.
You know, I'm just saying. Listen, it's not a complete shutdown. It's not as 100% as everyone thinks it is. Bryce does have a chance, and the longer the fight goes, Bryce is there, bro. He can nick the rounds.
Gene
with the wrestling.
Silva's gonna get in his head over fight week press conference. We already saw he was.
I don't
just
think Bryce is even present enough to get.
What do you mean? Did you not see
I-
the
I
press?
don't- I don't think he's present, Bryce. I
But
think
did you not
Bryce-
see the press
I think
conference?
Bryce is on another planet.
I know, but Gene Silva's on another planet, bro. He's just barking and stuff. Like this, is what I'm saying. He brought a globe, and then Bryce Mitchell was talking about he's a demon, bro. If you think your opponent's an actual demon, wait until you get an octagon. I promise you, like this, I'll be flabbergasted. Yeah, and I'm not talking from a place that I think Bryce Mitchell is a scrub, right? But I think Gene Silva is gonna be top 5 by the end of the year.
That's not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout, and I probably think as well. He should beat Bryce Mitchell if he has any aspirations of becoming a champion. Or
We look at what
breaking into
we
top
saw what
five.
Topuria did to Bryce
Exactly.
Mitchell.
Bryce Mitchell, you
Submitted him.
should handle him, but yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. Bryce could turn back the clock, wrestle, and get decision win. So final prediction is what, a first round knockout?
First round TKO,
I'm
man.
going decision win for Bryce.
Left hook,
Yeah.
straight on the chin.
Decision win for Bryce, a close fight, possibly a split.
Split decision.
Yeah, possibly.
Let's
go through the card.
you didn't really. So you favor Yair Rodriguez, yeah? Yes.
Yeah, I just think
Pitbull.
Pitbull's not the same. He's not the same guy.
Mm.
Yeah, he's not. He joined the UFC a bit too late, in my opinion.
But that just happens all the time, man. These lot just. What you could have argued that Chandler came at the right time, right? In terms of he came to the UFC with the amount of fights, and he had a title opportunity. He's been a big fight, so he came at the right time. But if Pitbull gets a win against Yair Rodriguez, he's right there. I don't think he gets the title shot, but he's in conversations about a big fight
He puts himself in a very, very good
in a good position. Yeah,
But I just
100
think he's joined the UFC a bit too late. What is he, 37? Pitbull's not young, you know.
yeah, it's kind of
Pitbull's not young, so
it's kind of on the older side.
he's for me he's on the decline. Can he squeeze out and one or two more years and compete, we'll see. But I don't see him doing much to Yair. I think Yair handles him.
Yeah, unanimous decision after
For
15
me
minutes.
as well,
I don't know if
unanimous.
Yair finishes him though.
He
But then
could-
again, Yair could come up with some crazy.
yeah.
But then
And
he got
Yair's
finished
a
by.
lot bigger than Pitbull. You know, Pitbull's I think 5'6", 5'7". He's not that big.
It's 5'5", no?
He's not exactly. He's small.
For featherweight.
And
it's
Yair's
small.
pushing 6 foot. So,
Yeah, like
definitely.
that means Pitbull's gonna have to get in close.
but then that's not really
And
smart.
and
Yair,
yeah,
Yair's gonna knee him. He's gonna elbow him. Yair's shot selection is amazing.
but then
And
again,
he's someone that people.
but do you
sleep
think
on as well.
Pitbull could grapple?
Yeah, but then Yair knows that is what everybody wants to do to him. So that he's definitely working on that. He
Yeah,
knows
but I
this.
mean, Ortega
But Ortega,
looked like Khabib against him, bro.
but Ortega and Pitbull are levels apart.
You think
In
so?
terms of grappling, striking maybe Pitbull.
Dominic Reyes against Nikita Krylov. Ooh.
Yeah, the thing with Reyes, he's talented, but it's always just comes back to his chin. You
Right.
know, he could be winning the fight.
But do you think Krylov would test that chin?
Yeah, I mean, possibly he might not be the guy to test it.
Was it 2 wins in a row for Dominic
Yeah.
Reyes?
I mean, he's on form right now, but it just
Yeah.
goes back to his chin. You know, there's fights where he's been winning. One shot.
I think he'll do enough to get out of the way of anything Krylov sends his way. I don't think he'll finish Krylov. But you know what? I like Dominic Reyes. Either he gets it a TKO, but if I'm being realistic, I think after 15 minutes he does enough for a decision, to be honest. That's where I'm headed.
I mean, yeah, possibly.
And then he most importantly, he gets back into the top 10.
Yeah, I mean that's what he wants. That's what I mean.
That's what he wants.
He wants another title shot.
Mm.
Fair play to him as well. Dominic Reyes. He went through a patch where he was just getting knocked out. He could have easily,
Bro.
just,
And it weren't no normal knockouts.
Yeah, no, he could have easily just quit and given up, but
Right.
he's stuck in there. And now look, hopefully, I mean he's still young, so hopefully the light is at the end.
This
of the
is
tunnel. We'll see him.
this is a good fight though. Dan Ige against Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson getting his chance to break into the top 15. He's slender, man.
Yeah.
He is like, bruh, he's like, those builds, yeah, like the Prates builds, the Sean Woodson builds, the proper slender man looking guys, yeah.
But they can
They-
crack.
They can crack, bro.
It's that fast twitch muscle, innit?
Bruh, it's weird. It don't even make sense. But literally,
Yeah. But Dan Ige is not an easy fight. He's a vet, knockout power. He's been in there with everyone. Okay,
Sean-
his record's not the best, but he will definitely test you, and he's durable as well. So
he's literally 50. I mean, yeah, like 18 and 9.
exactly. So
Sean Woodson is the slight favorite.
Woodson, yeah, he's the favorite. He's the up and coming fighter. But then again, I always say this:
It's
if he has
experience.
any aspirations of breaking into the top 15,
He should be able to beat Dan.
becoming
Ige.
a top 10 fighter and kicking on to fight for the belt eventually,
It's a litmus
you
test.
should beat Dan Ige. And Dan Ige is exactly that. He's the Jeff Neal, possibly, of welterweight as well, where you beat this guy.
I mean,
then-
Jeff
then-
Neal's
then-
top
then we
10.
can- Then I know. Jeff Neal's possibly a bit better, but you beat those sort of fighters, and yeah, we can definitely take you seriously now. So
So who do you got? You think Dan Ige is gonna push him back?
I think it's Woodson's time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Woodson does it. Decision.
Decision.
Yeah.
Ige is a hard man to knock out.
Yeah, so I'd just say decision.
Yeah, do you know what? Woodson might do enough to pull that one through. Interesting fight for the female division. Yan Zhao Nan against Jandiroba. Rank 1 against rank 3 in the strawweight division. So this ultimately has...
Zhao Nan's talented though.
She's good, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
But Jandiroba's grappling is good, bro.
where does Zhao Nan train?
In China, no? Or in Thailand?
Probably
just like
train
Zhao.
in Vegas. Or?
I don't know, you know. I don't know where she trains, but
I mean, those Thailand camps, they come in well prepared. So
I don't know
I
where
don't
she
think-
trains.
I
That
don't
was just...
think-
Maybe I'm getting her and Whaley confused, but
but I don't think
Jandiroba is favourite, though. Considerable favourite.
that's crazy.
You think Zhao Nan is
No, I
going
mean,
to push her back?
Zhao Nan's legit. So the fact that Jacob is a favorite is mad. Yeah, I'll say Zhao Nan. Decision.
I think I can see Jandiroba doing enough on the grappling, you know. But there's no finish there.
Nah.
We saw Zhang Weili put Zhao Nan to sleep, and then they didn't finish the fight. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was actually crazy. Ooh, Chase Hooper against Jim Miller. That's like the oldest guy against the youngest guy. Hey, Chase Hooper's on a nice little run though.
Chase Hooper's got phenomenal jiu-jitsu as well.
Bro, it's not a joke.
So
And he's filling out his body.
yeah. So
I remember when he first came into the UFC, it was like how.
him and O'Malley in the UFC as well. They were like very slim.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got Chase. Chase decision or possibly submission win. You know, Chase submission win second round.
Yeah, but Jim Miller's got a nice guillotine though.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting Chase though with submission. Chase is too good on the mats.
You don't think you can hurt him on the feet? Chase Hooper's got better hands. I would favor Chase Hooper at this stage. And who did Jim Miller come up against last? Was it Bobby Green at UFC 300? Was that his last fight?
That fight never went ahead, did it?
No, it did.
Did it go ahead?
I did, but Bobby Green killed him.
Yeah. But Bobby Green is Bobby Green is Bobby Green is an interesting fighter, you know.
Bro, he's
interesting because sometimes he will look very good on the feet.
Yeah.
But then I don't know, like it's just losing to Bobby Green is not good for Chase. I actually forgot about that.
No, Jim Miller lost.
Jim Miller, yeah. I was about to say, yeah, Chase isn't lost.
No, but Jim Miller.
Yeah, I can't this is Chase's time. And again, if Chase has any aspirations of kicking on, you have to beat Jim Miller. You can't lose to Jim Miller.
The rest of the card, there's a few names, but that's about it. Let's just talk quickly about. Did you watch the fight last night, Emmett?
I saw the highlights. I'm not gonna lie and say I watched the whole fight, but
yeah.
But then
I think
from what I saw, it was a bit of a
clinic.
Yeah, it was a standard performance against.
They're calling.
You have to circle from his right, circle from his power shot.
I know.
And just keep away from that power shot and just chip away.
Murphy fought a smart fight,
and
but people.
Murphy's a bit of a
dark horse.
He's a bit of a sleeper in that weight class because Josh Emmett is that litmus test as well. Because all the top guys.
But he's more than a litmus test. He's still a top 10 fighter. He knocked out Bryce Mitchell into the moon.
But he's a problem, that guy, Josh Emmett, because you make one mistake and you're in trouble. So the fact that he beat him and it wasn't a controversial win for me. It was a clear win.
People argue, but people are like the featherweight Leon Edwards. That's how Murphy fights.
To be honest,
he's not the most entertaining guy, but he gets it done. But when he reaches, he's gonna be like the 7th or 8th ranked. So he's gonna fight probably someone just into the top 5. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna start fighting against serious dudes. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna start fighting against serious dudes. And I don't know. Do you know one fight I'd like to see? I'd like to see Murphy against Gene Silva at some point. Because I feel like Gene Silva would bring... But then again, I'm saying that Murphy had a mad scrap against Barbosa. You know what I'm saying? He nearly got dropped by Ige. Like, he's been in some entertaining scraps. He just did what he had to do against Josh Emmett, who's an extremely dangerous guy.
You have to fight like that against Josh Emmett. Nobody's had fun with Josh Emmett. Like, you have to fight. You have to come under the fire a bit.
I won't lie. Topuria had.
Yeah, Topuria's a different level though.
Topuria had fun with Josh Emmett. But he didn't finish him.
Topuria didn't care about his power.
Yeah, I know.
Topuria was cracking him.
Yeah. But he beat him up for 25 minutes. It was wild. But yeah, 2 weeks ago we had Brandon Moreno against Urseg. Moreno looked good, man.
I feel bad for him. 0-3. He was 3-0. Now he's 0-3.
Who's he fought? Kai Kara France, Pantoja, and but you want to talk about litmus test? Like, he's fought the 3 best flyweights. You could argue Manel Cape is in there as well in the conversation. He's been rebooked against Roy Val, which is a great fight. I can't remember when that is. But yeah, I mean, Moreno just looked a step ahead. I've got to be honest. Like, it was fairly comfortable.
Is this Moreno's first fight back?
No, he fought Amir Albazi, and Albazi's a strong grappler.
Took some time out, and he still looks like he has it.
Yeah,
and he's been in some wars.
Bro, do you know what fight I rewatched? I rewatched his first fight against Figueiredo in the Apex. Oh my gosh! If you can't remember that fight, go and watch Figueiredo and Moreno won at the Apex. Arguably one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life. And you could hear every punch, bro. That was crazy.
Possibly the greatest rivalry in flyweight history.
Yeah.
You could say that. Just
going down the cards. Oh yeah, Calvin Gastelum and Joe Pyfer was cancelled, and Joe Pyfer was just going mad on Mexico. He's like, It was kind of a bad look though.
But he was gonna smoke Gastelum, you know. Gastelum was getting fed to the wolves. They did that to him on purpose as well because he's
Missing
been
weight,
messing
innit?
around with the weights. He's going down to 170.
What you think, Pyfer? That's like
They gave him the
That's like-
biggest. They gave him the biggest.
I know, but
185,
Gastelum, no matter what, he's got the chin of all chins. But you
I
think
know,
Pyfer
but-
would have turned them off?
brother.
Pyfer's hey,
185,
we've had
and Pyfer's a possible light heavyweight. He's
bro.
too
I'll be
big.
honest. We've argued about this, yeah. But pound for pound, Pyfer's in a convo for the hardest hitters.
Yeah. They
100%.
Of course, Gastelum's got one of the best chins, but they did that to him to sort of.
So he got away with it.
Yeah, they wanted to ruin him.
That's peak.
But let's talk about something we want to talk about, yeah. And
Go
I'll
on.
bring up the card now, yeah.
Go on.
The GFL,
Yeah.
because we didn't really go through it, but the card's been released now.
Is it Verdum that's out?
I can't lie to you, it's a decent card, and it's like if you've been watching MMA for a while, it's all the veterans. It's all the veterans that are fighting on this card,
Right.
and it's a fun card. I mean, I'll bring up the card now, but there's some interesting.
I haven't
fights.
really tapped in on who's fighting. Obviously, I saw that Verdum is out.
There's some fun fights on here, bro. And I don't know if this is the confirmed, but you've got Derek Bronson on this card. You've got Pettis. You've got Uriah Faber. You've got Henan Barral.
That many people?
you've
Is
got
that legit? Yeah.
I think that, yeah, this is legit. You've got Marias, bro.
Where is it?
If I bring up the card now, it's bro. It's an amazing card. It's an amazing.
Well, you're gonna tap in. So it's like
Dylan Dennis, Tony Ferguson,
so it's like misfits on steroids.
bro. It's like all the it's like all the
I know. It's the old school. Yeah. I
all the
know.
old school. Look, Uriah Faber, Henan Barral. So let's just talk about that fight, yeah. Obviously, if you've been watching MMA,
Bro,
for a
we're
while,
talking about it like it's
I
they're
know,
the same
I know,
dudes, bro.
I know Uriah's at 45, but they're not the same guys. But still, like
Uriah
this is
Faber's
just
not.
giving me flashbacks back in the day, man. Henan Barral in his prime. I know he was on all the juices you could think of, but
You know, I heard an interesting stat that
since USADA came
Barral was the longest standing interim champion,
in, yeah.
and Aspinall's gonna overtake that.
Wow.
Yeah,
But why was that? Is it because Dominic Cruz was hugging the belt whilst he was injured?
something like that. Something like that. Yeah.
But then
Or no, I think it was over 2 spans. So it's like he was interim, and then he became interim champion again, or
I
something.
didn't even
like
mention it. The GFL is 2 days, so they've got a card on Saturday and they've got a card on Sunday.
Who owns GFL?
I have no idea, but one of the cards is in. They're both in
Because
LA.
I'll be real, they must have money to be able to do
They're
this.
throwing money at that. Apparently, it's not going to be a pay-per-view as well. Apparently, it's going to be on.
Are the Saudis involved?
Possibly. I don't know.
Bro, the Saudis
But
are there, bro.
Uriah Faber, Henan Barral. Quick prediction.
Bro, I don't know how.
Henan Barral, yeah. Chad Mendes is on there. You've got Anthony Pettis versus Benson Henderson. You've got Holly Holm versus Julia Budd.
This is legit, yeah?
Marlon Moraes.
Bro, it feels AI generated.
Marlon Moraes versus Ray Borg. You've got on the Sunday Tony Ferguson, Dylan.
Is
Dennis.
that fight still happening?
Yeah, it's still happening. Uriah Hall versus Douglas Lima. Douglas Lima.
Is it 15-minute fights?
I can't lie. Uriah Hall, probably yeah. But you know Uriah Hall, Douglas Lima. That's a competitive fight, and I think Douglas Lima's not washed. He's not washed. He's probably not the same guy, but he's not washed up. You've got Gustafsson versus OSP. Well, this is going back, bro. Do you remember
This is AI generated, bro. They
and
put
it's light heavyweight as well. Paige Van Zandt, yeah. You've got Louis Glisman versus Abubakar Nurmagomedov. He's on the card as well.
No.
It's not a bad card.
That's
Can't lie to you.
crazy.
That's my Saturday and Sunday sorted.
Yeah? Is this week?
No,
Next week?
It's the 24th and 25th.
Okay.
So
I might have to tap
it's
in
in-
on
it's
some
in
of these
2 weeks.
names. But did you see some of the upcoming fights announcements? Actually, we didn't go into the Prates card. Anthony Smith is still fighting. He's co-main event of that.
Yeah, listen, Anthony Smith.
But they're feeding him to the wolves, bro. Do you know who he's fighting? He's fighting Zhang. I don't want to butcher his name, but I'm just gonna call him Zhang. Yeah, he's the one that turns people off.
I know
bro.
they're trying to. You know what though? Did you not say that he wants to retire? I think they want him to retire.
Bro, Zhang really might turn.
Yeah,
Anthony
I
Smith.
think this is his retirement fight.
Yeah, but who wants to get turned off in their retirement fight, bro?
Yeah.
No one wants to get turned off in
You
their.
know one fight that just got announced as well. The Ridder versus not Joe Bo Nickel.
That's a great
I
fight.
cannot lie to you, yeah. Bo Nickel's in trouble, you know.
Serious?
Bo Nickel's in trouble.
Whoa.
The Ridder's a dangerous
I hear it.
guy.
No, I hear it. I
And you
hear
know,
it. When is that?
I've always loved Dutch fighters, yeah. you know,
They're normally
they've-
kickboxers.
They've
though.
got a good history.
They're
in
normally
MMA as well.
kickboxers.
Yeah, I
They're
know.
not really grapplers.
This guy can grapple, bro. He submitted Kevin Holland, who is a black belt. We have to respect his credentials on the mats, and he submitted him like he was nothing. So the Ridder against Bo Nickel, I'm telling you now, Bo Nickel can't just fight the way he's been fighting. He's because the Ridder can strike as well.
We've wanted.
I can't lie.
We've
the
wanted
Ridder's the favorite. I can't lie to you.
But we've wanted Bo Nickel to be tested. This is a real test.
This is a real test.
This is a
no
real
one can
test.
say Bo Nickel's fighting scrubs or he's
Yeah,
fighting
this
can.
is it.
This
He's
guy is
arrived.
not a can.
Yeah, he's
The Ridder
arrived.
has aspirations of
But
becoming
hey,
champion.
going back to quickly before we wrap up, going back to that card, the Prates Gary, Giga Chikadze against Onama. That's a great fight
That's a
as
great
well,
fight.
bro.
Giga's been out for a while, hasn't he?
No,
When
he
was the last time
fought.
Giga fought?
No, he fought.
He hasn't been the same since that Catalos, has he? That Catalos took some years off him.
Arnold Allen beat him in 2024,
Yeah,
summer
before that, what was
2024.
before that?
The Keita fight.
That Keita fight was a
No, actually, Keita fight was 2022.
yeah, but since then he's not been the same. Because before that Keita fight, I thought this guy was gonna be a champion.
Yeah, really?
The way he looked.
Mm.
But yeah, that Keita fight took
Killed him.
definitely, yeah.
Michel Pereira against Abbas Magomedov.
Yeah. Abus, yeah.
Abbas, yeah. He's the one that fought Strickland in his debut, but he's been on a roll since. Who did he submit? He
Abus.
submitted. Yeah. He submitted some. He submitted. Who did he submit? Was it 2024? Let me see. Bruno Ferreira. He submitted Bruno Ferreira. He's the guy that knocked out Robocop,
I'm just trying to bring the card I saw.
bro. And then Randy Brown, Nicholas Dolby, Alice Garoff against Muniz. Alice Garoff's being back after the Whitaker loss. He's gonna have to get back into the win column. So yeah, and then obviously we had Sanhagen against Figueiredo being announced for the card after that. So I
forgot about that.
bro,
Sanhagen,
the Ridder Bo Nickal's the co-main event to that.
That's
That's a crazy card. That's a tap-in card.
Yeah.
Got to tap in for that one.
100%.
Ponzinibbio against Daniel Rodriguez.
Pozanibo's still around.
Bro, he's still around, bro. He's still around.
Remember his Gunnar Nelson knockout? We poked him in the eye and knocked him out.
Yeah. And also, like, just looking at UFC 315 quickly, they do Canada dirty. In terms of the pay-per-views, no, they do.
I know it's not the most stacked, but it's not a bad card, you know. I was looking at it as well the other day. It's not too bad.
What, Bilal Jack,
That's all right.
Valentina Fioro,
Okay.
Gilbert Burns, Michael Morales.
That's not a bad fight.
It's not a bad fight.
It's not the most stacked, but I'd still watch it.
Grasso against Natalia Silva.
Okay.
Aldo's on it
Exactly.
against
There's
Zahabi.
another decent fight as well. Zahabi Aldo, yeah. Wow.
Mike Malott against Charles Radke. Jessica Andrade's fighting on there. I mean,
It's not the worst, but it's not the best.
the last pay-per-view they got in
It's
Toronto.
Montreal, isn't it?
Yeah,
If
they
it was
got
Toronto,
they got Duplessis and who is it? Duplessis and Strickland, no?
Yeah.
That was the last one they got.
Strickland was going crazy talking about Canada.
Yeah. But anyways, that's it for today. We previewed UFC 314. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the video on YouTube. Watch out for the clips. Everything that we spoke about today will be on the TikTok and the Instagram. And if you're listening on audio platforms, make sure to download the episodes so that you're notified whenever we post again. But yeah, that's it. We're out.